Run away now. This happened during a rare family outing to a restaurant. When the waitress handed us the menus, for some reason, her face was pale, and her hands were trembling. When I saw the message tucked into the menu, I held my breath. We couldn't stay here any longer. Sensing danger from her unusual demeanor, I decided to escape with my daughter. And just as we slipped out through the bathroom window, a voice called out to us. My name is Ashley. I'm 30 years old, and I've been married to Daniel for 5 years. We met at a party, hit it off, and got married. Since then, I haven't had any particular complaints about him. We've been living an ordinary but happy life as a family of 3, showering our 4-year-old daughter Emma with love. At that time, I believed without a doubt that these days would continue forever. However, due to a certain incident, our peace was shattered in an instant. I'm thinking of quitting my job and starting my own business soon. It all began when my husband said this with a serious expression. When I listened to his story in detail, it turned out that he had been preparing to start a company without my knowledge while working at a real estate agency. Now that he had more or less secured funding and personnel, he wanted to open for business in grand style. To be honest, I wasn't too surprised when I heard this. After all, I want to have my own company someday, had been his catchphrase since we started dating. So, from the time we got married, I had secretly decided to support him wholeheartedly as his wife when he eventually expressed his desire for independence. Besides, I had continued working at a food company even after marriage, so we had ample savings. There was no reason to refuse my husband's proposal. I understand. It'll be tough, but I'll support you as much as I can. Really? Thank you. I'm so glad you're my wife. Seeing Daniel so relieved and happy, I couldn't help but smile. And so, we began a new life to help my husband realize his dream. However, contrary to this brilliant start, the mood at home gradually began to darken. Honey, aren't you pushing yourself too hard? You need to take a break sometimes. Rest is part of work too. Shut up. This is a crucial time, so leave me alone. I couldn't help but frown at him as he stared at documents around the clock, not even trying to listen to my words. You see, a month after Daniel started his company, he had become quite cornered and was often depressed. Apparently, the business wasn't going as well as he thought, and several employees who had initially cooperated had left. However, I never expected everything to go smoothly from the start. That's why I thought it would be fine for him to slowly grow the business at his own pace. Listen, it'll be all right. Things will work out eventually, and I'm here to support you when things get tough. You're looking down on me because you earn more, aren't you? What are you talking about? That's not true at all. I doubt it. Anyway, you're distracting me from work, so go away. Daniel, with his constantly gloomy face and frayed nerves, seemed completely unreceptive to my concerns. More than anything, seeing our daughter Emma looking anxious at her completely changed father made my heart ache. However, even after several months, the situation didn't improve. It only got worse. My husband's irritation grew increasingly intense as the business struggled to get on track. Why isn't this working? Late one night, I heard Daniel shouting from his study. When I hurriedly opened the door, I found the room strewn with torn pieces of notebook paper. He had always had a habit of jotting down notes in a notebook to organize his thoughts, but it seemed he had thrown a tantrum and ruined it. What a shame about your notes. Let's put them back together. I'll help. Shut up. Damn it. I don't need this anymore. Despite my gentle attempt to calm him down, he threw a childish tantrum and stormed out of the house. I couldn't hide my distress at his completely changed behavior. He had been increasingly prone to taking out his frustrations on objects, and at other times, he would mutter to himself while going out. He seemed mentally unstable. We've been married for quite some time, but I had never seen my husband so troubled. At first, I continued trying to persuade him to rest, but by this point, I was doing my best just to avoid angering him. Although I had decided to support him, he was already beyond my ability to handle. How could I bring back the old Daniel? While reminiscing about our happy days before he quit his job, I struggled to somehow regain that everyday life. However, one day, an incident occurred that I couldn't ignore. It happened when I asked my husband to do some simple shopping on his way home from work. Thank you. But you know, Emma and I can't eat this curry sauce. Ha! Are you blaming me for making a mistake? After I went shopping for you? No, that's not it. I'm really grateful that you bought it. It's just that it's not the brand I asked for. Shut up. How dare you complain to me? You're a failure as a wife. Despite my gentle reminder, my enraged husband raised his right hand and slapped my cheek with considerable force. Then, without even glancing at me as I was knocked back, he left again, muttering something. I couldn't even comfort my daughter, who burst into tears at the sudden event, only able to touch my aching cheek in a daze. I knew something was wrong with my husband, but I never imagined he would raise a hand against me. At this rate, Emma might be in danger too. At the same time, the option of running away from him finally occurred to me. I felt so threatened at that moment that any expectations I had for the kind husband he once was were blown away. However, a few days later, something unexpected happened. Let's go to a restaurant as a family today. It's been a while. I have a regular place I've been going to lately. Gone was his usual stressed demeanor. Daniel took me and our daughter out with an unusually calm manner. At first, I wondered if something good had happened to him, but his sudden change in behavior made me feel an eerie calmness, like the calm before a storm. However, Emma was excited, saying, "Daddy's taking us to a restaurant." Partly because I felt guilty for making her worry, I decided to go out despite my suspicions. I first noticed something odd right after we were seated. "Here's some water and your menus." I noticed that the hands of the waitress who handed menus to me and my husband were trembling slightly. When I looked up in surprise, I felt that her complexion seemed poor as well. Is she not feeling well? While I was thinking this, my husband, apparently thirsty, quickly drained his water. He said he was going to get more water and went to speak to a staff member in the kitchen. Despite several puzzling points, I decided to at least decide on our order and opened the menu. The next moment, I was shocked by what I saw. What's this? There was a piece of paper tucked inside. And on that note were the words, "Run away now," written in shaky handwriting. Astounded, my mind automatically recalled recent events, my husband's violent side when he raised a hand against me, his sudden kindness that was a complete change from that, the waitress's strange behavior, and this note that was likely meant only for me. The more I thought about it, the more anxious I became about this unnatural situation. We can't stay here. Intuitively sensing danger, I tried to maintain a calm appearance while taking my daughter's hand, who was sitting next to me, after confirming that my husband had returned. "I'm just going to take Emma to the bathroom." And with that, I casually left the table with our belongings. Luckily, the restaurant's bathroom had a large window that I could fit through. "Let's get out of here." And so, I managed to escape from the restaurant with my confused daughter. However, just as we were about to leave the area, not knowing what was going on, "Wait, please." Surprised by the voice from behind, I turned around quickly. There was the waitress who had handed us the menus, running towards us. She had probably anticipated that we would escape through the bathroom. "There's something I need to tell you." Then, she revealed to me all the truths I hadn't known. And after learning the horrifying truth, I was terrified but also determined to bring my husband to justice. The next day, I was woken from a peaceful sleep by the sound of someone violently banging on the door. "Hey! I know you're in there." "I know it." Startled, I went downstairs to the entrance and heard Daniel's angry voice. Signaling to my parents, who had also woken up from the commotion, I headed to the entrance alone. You see, after escaping from the restaurant, I had taken Emma and returned to my parents' home. If he kept shouting like this, it would attract attention, and my mother and father would be subjected to curious stares from the neighbors. I took a deep breath and unlocked the door, keeping the chain on. Immediately, Daniel tried to force the door open with tremendous strength. "Hey! Open this. Why did you leave without telling me? Could you please be quiet? You're disturbing the neighbors. After I took you out for a meal, you traitor." I looked at my ranting husband, his face red with anger, with pity. It's hard to believe, but the person in front of me is the one I once loved and promised a future with. We laughed together at our wedding and watched our daughter grow together. Who could have predicted such an ending? I regretted not stopping my husband from starting his business, but it was all over now. Right after escaping from the restaurant, I had learned a shocking truth that made it impossible for me to return to him and our family. "I know. You were trying to kill me and our daughter, weren't you?" Daniel tensed up for the first time at my words, seemingly flustered. Afterward, the waitress who had warned us of the danger calmed me and my confused daughter down and explained everything in a safe place. "You and your daughter have peanut allergies, right?" "Yes, that's correct, but how do you know that?" "Actually, your husband was trying to make you eat peanuts." According to the waitress, when I thought my husband had gone to get water, he had actually ordered a salad with peanut dressing, trying to do so without us noticing. For Emma and me with our allergies, that was as dangerous as poison, a life-threatening ingredient. Naturally, I'm usually very careful about what we eat, so there's no way Daniel wouldn't have known about this. In other words, he had deliberately ordered food that would trigger our allergies. Were you trying to collect insurance money or something? Things have been tough since you started your business, huh? My voice trembled with the anger welling up inside me. I was terrified that my own life had been threatened, but what I couldn't forgive most was that Daniel had tried to harm our daughter too. If he had just been struggling financially, I would have worked hard to manage somehow, and I thought that helping each other like that was what being a married couple was all about. Despite that, how could such a terrifying idea of putting our adorable daughter in danger even cross his mind? I didn't do anything like that. It's all your delusion. You don't have any proof. My husband, seemingly in a slight panic, shouted loudly. I glared at him quietly. If you want proof, I have it all. Your notebook wasn't at home, was it? Daniel was at a loss for words at my question, which seemed to have hit the mark. As for why that waitress knew about our allergies and was able to prevent this incident, where we were supposedly targeted by him, the reason was in the notebook he habitually kept. Apparently, you were planning to kill us at that restaurant. It seems that waitress happened to see your notebook. According to her, while she was going around the tables refilling water, she accidentally glimpsed the contents of my husband's notebook while he was in the bathroom. It contained information about our allergies and all the details of this plan. The shocked waitress, unsure if my husband was serious, couldn't report it to the police, so they decided to be cautious throughout the restaurant. When Daniel brought us there, the kitchen, including her, was in a great uproar. Before coming to my parents' house, I retrieved your notebook with the plan written in it from your study. No. Give it back. Without that, Too bad. I've already handed it over to the police. At those words, finally seeming to understand the gravity of the situation, my husband's face turned pale, and he began to tremble. After a little searching in the study, the problematic notebook came out right away. So, I took the waitress as a witness that my husband had intentionally ordered a menu with peanuts, and rushed to the police station with the evidence. Upon checking, it seemed that Daniel's behavior was also captured on the restaurant's surveillance cameras, and the police immediately accepted this complaint as a case. I just had my parents call the police, so they should be here soon. Having revealed everything, I gazed at my pale-faced husband while listening for the distant sound of sirens. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Help me. Tell the police it was a misunderstanding. He desperately clung to me, crying. That's impossible. The company was about to go under, and I needed money. That's why I'm sorry. My husband seemed completely dejected, only apologizing in a small voice. But those apologies didn't resonate with my heart. No matter how happy our days had been until now, there was no way I could forgive him for targeting our precious daughter's life. You'll have to pay for what you've done. When I coldly pushed him away, Daniel hung his head as if giving up on everything. After that, my husband, taken away by the police, was arrested shortly after. Naturally, the company he had started went bankrupt. There was no way I could continue being married to him, so I divorced Daniel. Regarding compensation, through a lawyer, I'm currently seeking payment of $50,000 each for me and my daughter. Having completely cut ties with him like this, we have now moved to a new town and are living peaceful days. From now on, I intend to shower my daughter with plenty of love so she won't feel lonely, and spend